Hello and welcome to the lecture session. Today we are going to have a tutorial session on sampling. Some of the problems I'll be going to discuss in this presentation. A coin is tossed for 1000 times and head turns up for 540 times. Decide on the hypothesis that the coin is unbiased. And let us suppose that the coin is unbiased. So if it is unbiased means it should have a equal probability of getting a head as well as a tail. That means P is probability of getting head in one toss is 1 by 2, and Q also will be 1 by 2 because 1 minus P is half, and N is the number of times it has been tossed, that is 1000. The expected number of heads in 1000 tosses will be N into P. That gives us 1000 into half, that gives us 500. But actual number of heads we have got is 540. So consider Z is x minus NP by NPQ under the root. So when we take this, it is 540 minus 500 by n, that is 1000 into half, which gives us 2.53, and it is lesser than 2.58. So we can say that the coin is unbiased because the calculated value is lesser than the tabular value. It is fixed as 2.58 that I have given in the beginning, the first slide I have given. So it is lesser than this, therefore it is an unbiased one. It is accepted. The hypothesis is accepted. Second question. In 324 throws of a 6-faced die, an odd number turned up for 181 times. Is it reasonable to think that the die is an unbiased one? Let us suppose that the die is an unbiased one. This is the null hypothesis what we are assuming. So when we assume that it is a null hypothesis, it has to be accepted, means the tabulated value should be lesser than 2.58. So let P be the probability of getting the odd number. So out of 6 faces, 3 odd numbers will be there, as all of you know this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces will be there in the die, and in that 1, 3 and 5 are the 3 odd numbers. So 3 divided by total number, that is 6, will give us the required probability, that is odd number turning out, which will be 1 upon 2. So the opposite of which, that is odd number not turning out, or even number, will be Q, which will be 1 minus P or half. So N is equal to 324. Expected number of odds in 324 throws will be 324 into half, which is 162. But here what I have got is 181. The actual number is a number of odd turning is 181 terms. That is the value of x. Now let's consider the z formula, that is x minus np divided by root of npq, which gives us 181 minus 162 divided by 324 into half, that gives us 2.11, which is lesser than 2.58. Hence, we conclude that the die is unbiased. Next, third question. The result extracts revealed that in a certain school over a period of 5 years, 725 students had passed and 615 students had failed. Test the hypothesis that the success and the failure are in equal proportion. Let P be the probability of success and Q be the probability of failure. Suppose that the success and failure are in equal proportion, then it will be P equals to half and Q equals to half, because there is only two options is there. One is success, another one is failure. Out of two options, success will be one option, therefore P is 1 by 2. Similarly Q. The total number of students are that is including the passed as well as failed, so it will be 1340, which will be totaled. That is giving you the n answer. Next, the expected number of successes n into p, that is 1340 into half, which gives us 670. Next comes the observed number of success, that is 725, which is x, observed number of success. So consider this is given, 725 is given, 5 this one success. So consider z is equals to x minus np by root of npq, that is 725 minus 670 divided by 1340 into half, that is p into q, which gives us 3.005 and which is greater than 2.58. So what does it conclude is it is rejected. Hence the hypothesis that the success and failure are equal is rejected. We have assumed that they both are equal, so it is rejected because it is going beyond this value. Next example. In a sample of 500 men, it was found that 60% of them had overweight. What can we infer about the proportion of people having overweight in the population? The probability of persons having overweight is P, that is 60 by 100 or 60%, that is 0.6, and Q will be 0.4, obviously, that is 1 minus of that, and N is 500 because sample size is 500 here. The probable limits will be P plus or minus 2.58 into root of PQ by N, that is 0.6 plus 2.58 into root of 0.6 into 0.4 divided by 500. That gives us 0.6 plus or minus 0.0565, that is 0.5435 and 6565. Therefore, the probable limits of people having overweight is 54% to 65.65%. 54.35 to 65.65%. Next, to know the mean weights of all the 10-year-old boys in Delhi, a sample of 225 was taken. The mean weight of the sample was found to be 67 pounds with a standard deviation of 12 pounds. What can we infer about the mean weight of the population? So the sample mean is given as 67 pounds. Sample size is 225. The standard deviation is 12 pounds. Everything is given. 95% confidence limits for the mean of the population is x bar plus or minus 1.96 into sigma by root n. Whereas for 99% confidence limits for the mean of the population, x bar plus or minus 2.58 into sigma by root n. And we have sigma by root n is given by, sigma value is given as 12 and root of n, where n value is 225. So sigma by root n is 12 by root 25, that gives us 0.8. So this we need to substitute in the formula, that is 67 plus or minus 1.96 into 0.8. Another one is 67 plus or minus 2.58 into 0.8. That will give us the confidence limits. So 67 plus or minus 1.96 into 0.8 will give us 65.432 and 68.568. Another one is 99% confidence limits. If we take 67 plus or minus 2.58 into 0.8, that gives us 64.936 and 69.064. We can say with 95% confidence that the mean weight of the population lies between 65.432 pounds and 68.568 pounds. Also, with 99% confidence, we can say that the mean weight lies between 64.9 pounds to 69.1 pounds. So, this is about the calculation of the confidence limits. The formula is very clear. Thank you.